I've sent a message today to the United States Olympic Committee spelling out my own position that unless the Soviets withdraw their troops within a month from Afghanistan, that the Olympic Games be moved from Moscow to an alternate site or multiple sites, or postponed or canceled. If the Soviets do not withdraw their troops immediately from Afghanistan within a month, I would not support the sending of an American team to the Olympics.
Welcome back. That was President Jimmy Carter going on Meet the Press, January 20th, 1980, formally announcing a plan for the United States to boycott the Summer Olympics in Moscow. It was a decision that generated controversy within the U.S. and consequences within the White House. By the way, there's still controversy about that decision. It's also one of the moments in which American sports and American politics intersects. And it's featured in Chris Cillizza's new book called Power Players, Sports, Politics, and the American Presidency. And Chris Cillizza joins me now. Chris, when I first got a hold of your book, yeah. I think I texted you, I was like, I wish I had written this book, number one.
And that was a good response for me.
And it is amazing that there hasn't been a book like this. You know, there's been some golf books and there's been some specific books, but not about sort of the overall sort of the culture of sports in the presidency.
And it just seems, yes, look, I was surprised too and happy, candidly. Because the first thing you do when you come up with an idea for a book is you make sure nobody else has had the idea in the last 5 years, because, you know, it's not that original an idea. I think that sports and politics have sort of been running in these very similar lanes for a really long time, and I think we've been loath sometimes to our detriment in terms of analysis to acknowledge it. Carter is a perfect example. What you just played hugely backfired on him. Right? He thought that he could rally the country, rally the U.S. athletes behind this idea. And U.S. athletes said, well, the best way to show Russia that we're better than them is to compete against Russia and beat them. So
I got two words, Jesse Owens.
Exactly right.
I mean, that is what, in hindsight, like what he missed. Like, we're all raised and taught in school about how important that was for America to go to Berlin and show Hitler Jesse Owens. So it may, in hindsight, like, just takes basic history.
And who is at the 1984 opening of the games in Los Angeles giving a talk? Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
So it shows you the difference in terms of how presidents understood what sports could do for them. Right. Reagan was not sporty in any meaningful way, but he understood what it meant to the country. The Olympics, having teams come to the White House after they won championships, that was Reagan who started that.
Who started the phone calls to guys in the
also
locker room?
Reagan. A lot of Reagan. And again, what's fascinating about it,
so
Chuck,
he got it. The actor. But totally. That's the thing. He was the guy that understood what's the conversation people speak, and they speak sports.
Sports is a common language that is spoken in this country, much more so, I hate to say it because of both of us, than politics.
That's right.
You can talk to people about sports who you may have nothing else in common with.
Honestly, it's how I source build. It's always been in this business. How I source build, you figure out where they go to school, where they grow up, where they're from, you start, and then you find whatever it is, and you find the sport.
One great example of it, Richard Nixon, probably our most awkward modern president, honestly, sort of a loner, not good at small talk.
But he loved sports.
Nixon loved sports, and he was a fanatic about sports. He knew stats. He knew he loved to bowl.
We're gonna plug our buddy because a little cheesy to you. We're gonna plug our buddy Tony Kornheiser. But I heard your interview with him, and you went through this entire Nixon riff with baseball and a question about trying to figure out who his favorite baseball player was, and he gave you left-handed relievers and right-handed relievers?
So an AP reporter randomly asked, I think at the end of a press conference, randomly asked Nixon, like, who's your favorite baseball player? You know, and so Nixon goes with David Eisenhower, his son-in-law, Julie Nixon's husband. They go to Camp David. This is during Watergate. Okay, so priorities. They go, and he comes up with 4 teams. He comes up with 1880 to about 1930 when he was born, American League and National League, and then 1930 onward. And like you said, left-handed relief pitcher, specialist out of the bullpen.
Okay. Who was his favorite baseball player? Did he at least ever say it?
He loved Lou Gehrig. And part of that was because he had a relationship with Gehrig's wife. He reached out to Gehrig. He had a relationship there. And he loved the idea of sort of persistence in the face of struggle. That was sort of Nixon. Nixon saw himself in Gehrig.
So one of my favorite Bill Clinton days of the presidency, he got to one day early in his presidency, he threw out the first pitch at Jacobs Field.
I knew what you were going to say.
And he got to go to the Final Four that night to watch the Razorbacks win the national title. I just thought that was it's good to be the king moment.
And I have an awesome story in the book about that game. So he throws out the first pitch at Cleveland Indian Stadium at the time, Indians throwing out he then goes to the Final Four. Arkansas's in it. This is Scotty Thurman, Corliss, Big Nasty Williamson, Nolan Richardson.
40 Minutes of Hell.
40 Minutes of Hell.
Yeah.
Famous team. Clinton is so upset about the refereeing in the first half. He's gesticulating wildly in the box, and the camera pans up to him. So his aides have to say to him at halftime, you know, Mr. President, you can't do this. You can't behave like this. But Bill Clinton is a fan. He is an Arkansas football and basketball fan first.
I will tell you this: the coolest game in GW history, where I went to school at George Washington. John Calipari brings the #1 ranked UMass Minutemen.
Marcus Camby, I remember.
Marcus Camby to GW Smith Center. And Bill Clinton came. The sitting president just showed up, and there it was. He really did love it. And
I do think that it gets to something in someone that you might not be able to get to otherwise. And I think
just softens
so
people.
important.
All right.
It humanizes them in an important way, and that's what the book is fundamentally about.
I can't wait to talk to you more about this. People know we'll probably be talking on audio, and we'll see you soon.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you, my friend.
Well done.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.